Welcome to episode 2 of LawWiser on Air, where we decode emerging legal and policy trends with industry leaders. I'm your host, Alokita Tangri, and today we're diving into a major digital development of the year. YouTube's new policy targeting AI generated, low effort, or repetitive content. It's part of a broader shift where platforms are starting to self regulate in response to the rise of generative AI. This change is not just about YouTube creators, it raises big questions about originality, authorship, copyright, platform accountability, and where legal lines are being drawn in the age of automation. To explore this, I'm joined by two sharp legal minds. We have Mr. Rajiv Malik, legal leader at LG Electronics India, and Mr. Gaurav Mahajan, co founder and partner at Precept Law Offices. To set the context, YouTube's updated policy flags and demonetizes content it considers low effort, repetitive, or mass produced by AI. So, I would like to kick off the discussion by throwing a question to you, Rajiv sir. So, YouTube's move to restrict monetization of low effort or AI generated content is making waves. So, from a legal standpoint, how do you interpret this growing platform discretion and what precedents could it set?
First of all, at the outset, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be part of this conversation. Actually, we are a very interesting point in time where technology, creativity, and legal responsibility all are colliding together. And as a legal professional, we have to not just keep but shape also how we respond to these shifts, especially when it comes to generative AI and content governance. So now coming to your question, yes, YouTube is exercising its contractual right. It's a private platform, right? It can decide what qualifies for monetization. But this move is more than a policy tweak. I just perceive it as like that only. It signals a shift towards valuing human creativity again. And that's a good point, right? From a legal perspective, it strengthens the idea that monetization is not a right, it's a privilege governed by the evolving standards. Yes, law is not yet developed, but yes, it's a good thing that YouTube has already starting doing and acting on this of its own. And yes, it's going to set a precedent also. Other platforms may follow the same suit and creating their own benchmarks for authentic or original content. So actually, I see this as a positive step because without such guardrails, users may start tuning out if every post or video feels robotic or repetitive, uh, so definitely the consumers will not go there, right? So it's not a matter of aesthetics. It's about maintaining the user trust and I think the long-term platform relevance also. Yeah.
Great. Is there something that you would like to add to it, Gaurav sir?
Thank you first of all for having this session. The reason why, because this recent update will be implemented from tomorrow, which is 15th of July. And there is already a lot of confusion, chaos around what exactly is this policy, why it's been implemented, and why it's now suddenly changing and updating in such a manner. While I completely agree with Rajiv sir, my two takes on it would be that, see, this policy is already there very much in terms of the YouTube Partners Program, which they in short form call YPP, right? And it's just an update. While YouTube has always maintained, this is what I understand from my understanding of their policies, they've always maintained the element of transparency, first of all. And obviously, the idea is to avoid, such kind of a content which is mass produced, which in a way for their users is kind of a spam. And obviously, most importantly, it should not be repetitive, right? So of those sort of contents, I think that this has been there while long. It's just that they have just updated it in more sticker sense where they add to the element of the use of AI also in it, so that by use of AI, all these mass produced repetitive content should not act as a spam for their users. And obviously the credibility of the platform is also there. Now, very importantly, I was reading and going through all of it. What is the reaction largely on this? So I came across a very short, an update on the X, which was given by the YouTube platform, which ideally talks about the same issue, It says that they don't want to consider factors where the purpose of the post is to create kind of a spamming around the entire issue. And they very clearly said that, not exactly to clarify, this is a minor update on a long standing YPP policies to help us better identify when the content is mass produced or repetitive. So ideally what Rajiv sir said, which I clarified, is something which is already there. And what they say, that this type of content has already been eligible for monetization for years in that sense. And specifically considering that users may consider this kind of content as spam, so they've only updated something which was already existing. Now also there was a video repeating the same facts by Rennie Ritchie, which is, I think, part of the YouTube creative content team. So we should be, in that sense, should be clear that YouTube is not doing something which is very new. It's already there as per the YPP program. Yes.
Okay, very interesting. So, just if you go a little general, sir, Gaurav sir, in terms of copyright, how are courts or regulators in India and globally beginning to treat AI generated content in terms of authorship, originality, and protectability?
I think there has been a lot of suits in India also from a very long time now. You see all big celebrity Bollywood celebrities approaching the court in terms of protecting their personality rights. We have cases filed by Anil Kapoor, Amitabh Bachchan in the past, and Jackie Shroff. So obviously there is an element where they know that their voice, the modules in terms of their voice could be misused by AI generated modules and tools. Also, very importantly, their famous dialogues, their entire personality, their entire structure of how they have, how people recognize them in that sense. So it creates a lot of difference. And I mean, as far as copyright overriding the AI is something which is a matter and pending for various US laws, law courts, county courts, UK courts, European Union also is facing this. So globally, it's creating a lot of impact. I don't want to give you the number of the cases because it's huge. And the reason I gave you all this Indian context cases is something we can relate more relatively understood and uh, relate to. Now, very importantly, there's also a debate which the ANI suit, which is going on before Delhi High Court, though I don't want to comment on it. It's something which is pending. But ideally, we see that, there is a concern with regard to AI using the copyrighted material, allegedly. And most importantly, we also need to understand that AI tool is something that automatically doesn't work. You need some kind of a synthetic data which is feed it to it so that it generates and modifies the data into some kind of an output, right? This is also a concern amongst, if you remember, there was a huge protest by the US Grid Cinematographer Association because they were very, very much concerned, of course, because the musicians in the US went on a complete strike. The people who do the background music, the background voiceovers, there was entire scenario where they were on strike for a very long time. The idea was that they understood that the AI could misuse their voice, and the AI could also generate music through the content which is already belongs to a particular musician. So it is a huge concern. I mean, I should not say that it's not. It is a huge concern. And there is always will be a overlapping debate over how AI has generated a particular content, because ideally it also needs to feed on some kind of information. And whether the information violates any kind of copyright of a particular individual is a concern that need to be addressed very seriously. And just to clarify on this, right? Apart from social media influences being put to some kind of a guardrails in Indian laws or the UK laws, US laws, or by the European Union, there's all parallelly a lot of work is being going on, because we also in 2021 under the IT Act introduced the intermediary guidelines and digital media ethics code, which obviously made a responsibility to ensure safer and accountable online environment, which includes safety and also the protection of somebody's content. Similarly, UK also brought some regulations way back through the consumer protection from unfair trading. Ideally, it was also aimed to apply to social media influencers, where The idea was them to be honest and transparent when promoting our particular services or products, and also uh, the sponsorship, etc., and also the misleading information, which was already disturbing at that point of time. Also, very importantly, is the element of content which they use should not be violate of any kind of laws, including copyright. Similarly, the disclosure 101 for social media influencer also propagated the FTC, which again, put a kind of a importance of the content which the social media influencers use or relate to a particular product or the owner of the particular product or the material that they use. We also very recently have seen the Digital Service Act, the DSA, by the European Union, which was passed last year in February. Also focus on safety, requiring platforms to address illegal, harmful content. So I think what has been done by YouTube is something which is a part of a larger environment, which leads to internet safety, internet accountability, and transparency.
Just to add on here what Gaurav has said actually. So your question was that whether the copyright material, how the courts and other regulators are looking into it. So as of now, if you see that there is still there is not a set trend is there, right? For example, when a poem is generated by or a essay is written or any painting is being created by the AI, then the question still is pending at various courts and in fact the various jurisdictions, that who is the owner, the copyright owner of that. Is that the coder which has developed the algorithm? It is the prompt, the person who has given the prompt, or it is the AI machine itself, right? Overall, if I see, it's basically the trend is that no, AI cannot be the creator because it needs human intervention for the copyright. But if I see and if I do the analogy, right? If you see in when in India, uh, in a idol in a temple can file the writ petitions, then why not AI can be the owner in future, right? So that's my just to add on a new perspective.
Right, right. And another thing I just remembered, I thought of sharing with everyone. There was already, I think, South African patent body which already allowed some kind of, a patent application using the AI. And later there was the issue when the content originality and the issue regarding the ownership was raised. Then they completely, renewed that and said, sorry, we did it by mistake and can't be done. So ideally, there's a lot of theory which is parallelly going on, which I think our AI policy, not a policy, but a recommendation which the METI through India mission has published somewhere in January, which was there. It's more sort of a kind of a paper structure in terms of research. Obviously, there is a theory that, for example, if the content is originally generated, then who owns it? The user of the AI platform or the tool, or is the AI which actually the company which belongs, who runs that kind of, owns that kind of a software? So there's also debate around that. So it will be very interesting because in a lot of UK patent authorities and US, they have rejected the applications on the issue related to the ownership, who will be the owner. So let's see. I mean, there are favorable decisions also and discussions also running around, but it's something that needs to be evolved. And I completely agree with Rajiv sir that eventually some kind of favorable or some kind of a relatable answer would come in future.
Great, great. Thank you so much for that, sir. So now, Rajiv, sir, even for companies not directly in the creator economy, does this shift impact how you think about internal content governance, including use of generative AI in marketing, internal communications, or training?
Yes, of course. This change actually does affect how we think internally. So, if even if a company is not on YouTube, right, or any platform, it's still producing content, whether it's a product video, leadership message, or a training module, right? If that content feels over templated or the AI heavy, it could hurt both actually, both engagement and credibility. So regarding the governance part, if you will, governance angle, if you will see, it's a reminder to the companies that AI is just a tool, right? They need human input, right? And the clear review processes are required, content standards are required, And it's not about banning AI, but it's about ensuring that it enhances rather than the dilute the message itself. So in the long run, originality is not just good for algorithms, I must say. It's also good for the business reputation. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Gaurav, sir, when we talk about the YouTube policy, could YouTube face any legal challenges under Indian laws if creators claim unfair takedowns or revenue loss? Is that something that can be done?
See, filing a suit in India is something that you can't stop somebody from filing cases, right? But ideally, but ideally, whether those cases will be maintainable in the courts of law is something that we need to see as the test of time. But I don't think so that YouTube is exposed to that because first of all, it's a private entity. I mean, you and all the entire the programs or the terms and conditions are through a contractual obligations, right? So it's a more of a private party arrangement rather than anything else. So if YouTube thinks that they need to create an environment of transparency, not to spam their platforms, or to give a better user experience to their users, and to also create an element of accountability where they would be less getting these kind of concerns every day to struck down a video, to pause a video, to take down a video. So I think creating that kind of environment of responsibility, transparency, and accountability is important. So according to me, even if those cases are filed, these points will definitely help YouTube.
Very interesting. Right.
Yeah.
So now, Rajiv sir, what kind of compliance or reputational risks do you foresee if a company's AI generated content, say a thought leadership video or product demo, is flagged or taken down on a platform?
Yes, actually, these are real risks now, both legal and as well as the reputational. If content is flagged or removed, it can actually suggest that company did not meet the platform standards. That affects the credibility, especially in thought leadership or the consumer trust, right? And there also the compliance angle to it. If AI generated content reuses the voice models, visual elements, or even structure without proper rights or transformation, it could actually lead to the copyright claims or takedowns, right? So that is why companies should treat AI content with this same care as any other publication, and that they should ensure that the proper legal review is there, attribution tracking is there, and clear disclosures wherever needed is there. Yeah.
Great, great. And also, Rajiv sir, are legal teams now rethinking AI related risk disclosures, user policies, or internal AI guidelines in light of such evolving norms?
I must say this is just the beginning, right? Not
Yeah.
every company has formal AI usage policies in place yet, right? But the conversation has definitely started. And legal teams are beginning to ask, how do we track AI usage? When do we disclose it? And what's our responsibility if something goes wrong, right? It may not be fully implemented today, but I think very soon this has to be part of the corporate governance, and AI governance will become the part of the reality, right? It will be discussed on the board of directors meeting also, right? Especially as the platforms are tightening up and risks are more visible these days. So I should say that while we are in the early stages, it's clear that policies around AI use, disclosures, and review mechanisms are no longer optional. They will soon become part of how legal and compliance teams operate by default.
Thank you so much, sir. So, my last question is to you, Gaurav sir. What are your suggestions for legal teams and business leaders across sectors to future proof their content strategies and contracts, especially as generative AI continues to disrupt both creative and compliance landscapes?
Yeah, very relevant question, Alokita, because I have been working on this from a very long time now, since the AI Act was pending in the European jurisdiction. I was trying to identify and create this kind of environment of awareness that you should understand the concept of misuse of AI, first of all, what all misuse can really affect. And we are not really alien to it. We have already seen it, how it's happening all across. through deepfakes, how it's really affecting individual celebrities, politicians, etc., or public figures. So ideally, all of these environment is can be regulated not only through individual policies or corporate policies, but also policies where platform understand that a particular contract one is AI generated. There should be certain guardrails in terms of technology can be implemented, as are being implemented these days also, where I'm not talking about takedowns, right? Takedown is something that the damage is already created. A takedowns will happen when the content is already available and it's already created a massacre around, whether it's deepfakes or any other content which violates a particular individual rights or public rights or any kind of contractual rights. My take is that we need to understand the seriousness around the ethical use of AI, and this is very, very important. We've been working on AI ethics issues, and we really, really strongly promote that the factor of taking a element first in place to identify the first step, right? Obviously, we want to use the AI. AI should be used. The growth of AI is very much important for all of us, but the balance is very also important. So, ethical use of AI will turn down these kind of issues to certain extent, right? At least create an environment within an organization in terms of responsibility and transparency. Also, the factor of how and what ethics you want to put as far as dealing with the AI generated content, right? So I think it's majorly a part of understanding, kind of understanding within the board, understanding within the organization, and an understanding within the environmental structure of governance within an organization. So I think if we work on the ethical part of it, if we include AI generated content related understanding in our contracts, it will make a lot of difference in our policies, in our website terms and conditions, in our privacy policies, in our daily usages in terms of contracts we enter with the social media companies or advertising companies. So it will create a lot of difference. And the use of AI in terms of bringing the ethics into picture will give some kind of a guardrail, some kind of improvement in the system, I would say, where we also help AI to help us and all of us globally in that sense, I would say.
Thank you so much for that, sir. Is there anything that you would like to add, Rajiv, sir?
Just to add on first of all here that the training of teams are also very important regarding the AI ethics and usage, so that the employees are well aware of the risk which is going on there. And yes, we have Gaurav has rightly mentioned that updating IP clauses in the contracts are very important. And if you would like to close, right, then I need to say that my closing lines are there along with the poem, if you permit me.
Absolutely, sir. Please.
Right. So my view is that AI definitely brings speed and scale, but it's our judgment, our originality, and our accountability that will define the quality of what we put into this world. So I have written a small poem, and I am claiming the copyright of it also, right? And don't say it has been written by AI or something else, right? So the title of the poem is "In the Age of Code and Light." A quiet storm now fills the air with voices made from code and care. They speak so fast, they shine so bright, but miss the warmth of the human light. So use the tools that guide their tone. Let law and ethics shape their zone. For in this age of code and light, it's human wisdom that keeps things right. It's human wisdom that keeps things right.